Hey folks, welcome back to another video. Join me on a funny weather day here in North Wales. It was beautiful this morning, but I'm not much of a morning person, so I didn't leave the house till a bit later. Now it feels like Armageddon's coming. Sorry for any wind noise, but the wind's picking up. Big banks of dark cloud rolling in. Boy's falling asleep over there in the heather. People always ask about him if he's not in shot. He's here, he's just fine. Today's video, I'll try and get on with it to beat this weather because it does feel like it might rain. It's about 2-point belays and whether they're okay to use. It's supposed to be a thought-provoking video rather than a hard and fast rules video. We like rules in climbing. When I say rules, I mean, guidelines of how many pieces of gear to place, how good they need to be, different belay setups and stuff like that. They're useful. Some of those things are just guidelines though, and the more experienced you become, the more you learn the principles of why we create these rules and guidelines. And then when you understand the real reasons why, you can start to adapt them to your situation. And perhaps very experienced people do sometimes do things, myself included, that do look a little bit weird, but they'll still tick the boxes, whether that's ideas for building a belay or serene or whatever you use, or various other things as well. Quite careful about what I put on Instagram because I can't be dealing with the hassle of people, to be honest, because when you put stuff on social media, Instagram and YouTube especially, people love to try and catch you out. It's like a sport to some people, I think. If I put a picture of like a 2-point trad belay on Insta, for example, you can guarantee that someone will say 2 points is never enough on a trad belay. No guides associations or Petzl or DMM or whoever say that's okay to do. Firstly, they're normally chatting nonsense, but secondly, it's too nuanced to say that, isn't it? This is why this is thought-provoking, this video, hopefully. There's just so many millions of situations in climbing where we have to use judgment in that exact spot. Will I place more than 2 bits on trad belays? Of course I will. All the time, so regularly. 3 points, 4 points, 5 points. I was reading an Instagram post from someone local this morning, actually, just by chance, who had been climbing a route at Gogarth on Redwall, and they said they placed 9 bits of kit in that belay. It doesn't even surprise me. The rock on the route they're on isn't great, so they're spreading their odds, if you like. Equally, there's times when I might only place 1 bit of kit, but that will be like a sling round a big tree, a sling round a big boulder, those kind of things. I don't like saying, never, because never say never and all that, but I can happily say that I have never belayed off just 1 piece of kit. Even when I say kit, I mean trad gear. So I've never, even off a massive hex in a perfect crack, I've still never belayed off just 1 bit of kit. We place multiple bits of kit for redundancy, don't we, in case one fails, okay? And we can all make errors of judgment. All of us can. I've fallen off on a trad route and ripped a bit of gear that I didn't think would come out. I've done the opposite. I've fallen off on a trad route and something's held me that I wouldn't expect to. So sometimes our judgment is just slightly out, whether that's just we're rushed, scared, whatever, or we just haven't noticed something because we're all human. We spread the load a little bit. So if that bit of kit explodes, it goes onto that bit. There's only 1 left. If you've placed 3, clearly if 1 explodes, you've got 2 left. When people are teaching placing gear, and I've done a video on this as well, but it's like a bread and butter job for me, working as a climbing instructor type person, we'll often, or most of us will use some sort of scoring system. For me, I'll use a system out of scoring out of 5. 5 has to be textbook perfect, so completely solid rock, obviously, perfect contact with that nut or hex, whatever it is in the rock, the direction's all good, just ticking every box, has to be absolutely perfect. Some of us will also sort of say something like perhaps a 5 out of 5, that nut there, DMM walnut, can score 5 points. Going down a size to 4 can only ever score 4. These scoring systems are all flawed, they are just guidance. When you've been climbing long enough and you've built experience, you won't think in those terms. You'll think in the terms of, is it good enough or not good enough? It's as simple as that. And you won't go, when you get to a belay, right, I must score 10 points or more to build a belay. You'll just do it almost subconsciously. And again, is it good enough or not good enough? Do I need to add more? Do I not need to add more? Neither of these are 5 out of 5 placements, but I'm just demonstrating. But if I was here for real, I would absolutely be placing a third bit of kit in. But imagine you've got 2 perfect placements, and let's just say they're good size things like this DMM torque nut. I'm not sure what strength it is because it's so battered that I can't see the kilonewtons on it anymore. But imagine that in a perfect unquestionable crack with perfect contact being pulled the perfect direction. 2 of those in, are they as good as a bolt? We'll often say something like, oh, that's bolt quality, that placement. I mean, they're a bit different, so it's like comparing apples and oranges. I said apples, funny there, sorry. Apples and oranges. But is 2 of those going to be enough? It could be, for sure. In crap rock, is 2 of those going to be enough? No, absolutely not. We could look at like bigger nuts. I haven't got bigger than this today with me. A red cam upwards, that's pretty big, similar to that hex that I've got there. A couple of those in? Hey, maybe not. It depends, doesn't it? The key, as I've alluded to, is understanding these things. Once you understand the principles of, placing gear, building belays, what boxes we're trying to tick, then you can start to use your judgment. When you first learn something, like I'm learning Spanish, for example, and it's really easy to learn something parrot fashion. So if someone says something to you, you can just repeat it back. So someone could say a sentence to me, a short one, in Spanish and ask me to copy it. And yeah, okay, that's really easy to do, isn't it? And would that order me a Coke in the bar? Yeah, it would. But I want to be able to understand each word. I want to be able to understand the grammatical side of it as well. So there's a lot more to it. It's sort of multi-layered, isn't it? And that's what climbing is like as well. I know this is kind of a waffly video, but like I said, I'm just trying to provoke some thought, really. I'm always open to comments and questions and stuff like that. I do answer everything when they're genuine questions, when they're just people telling me I've done things wrong and assuming that I've never done this before. I think people think I'm just making videos up for the sake of it sometimes. I'm less inclined to get engaged, although I do bite sometimes. Provoking some thought. If in doubt, place more gear. If you're new to all this especially, just err on the side of caution every single time. I'd say that even someone who's been trad climbing for too long, well over 20 years, I still err on the side of caution. I'd rather take an extra minute or 2 building a quality belay that I've got no doubt in than rushing something and being nervous. We've probably all been here, if you've been climbing long enough, where let's say you built this anchor here and you're really happy with it, belaying your mate up, whichever method, and then they look like they're about to fall off and you're like, oh, maybe I should have placed a third. And probably most of us at some point have gone, hang about, or maybe I'd even put that 4th bit in, and you might do it while you're belaying. Err on the side of caution, build up the experience. There's no need in climbing when you're learning to build bad belays or to even place bad gear, because on those easier routes there's going to be the opportunities for good gear. Hope that's been interesting. As I said, do chuck questions, comments down below. You know what to do. I shall answer nearly all of them if they're at least remotely pleasant. And I look forward to reading what you have to say about it, because it is an interesting subject. Like I said, guidelines are great. Experience helps us understand them, though. That's the general gist. Massive thanks for watching, as always. All the support, massively appreciated. Click the like button, smash the subscribe button, fire us on Insta, fire us on Facebook, use the Buy Me a Coffee link. All those things I ask every time. All the support, massively appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. More videos coming up very soon.